been a minute.
It has
Welcome
I think
back.
been a while.
a lot has happened.
Wow.
We went to virals, is what we did.
That's why we had to take a break. Like people were starting to recognize it in the stores and shit.
Yeah, no good. No good.
Yeah.
I couldn't go to Goodwill. Couldn't do it.
So one video we made going to
Helltown.
Helltown, yeah.
Huh?
We got like 18,000 views.
I think it's up to 20.
It's not that great of a video.
No.
We're just walking around in the woods, but
You hit the rhythms.
we got in the rhythm. Both shows.
Matt, you're gonna yell at me for a second, but I'm gonna mess with this.
Oh,
A little bit lower, Stevie.
Whoa. Don't go too low.
Put a little lower.
Hey now, how is that any better?
It's not that kind of show.
Sorry.
Stop moving the goddamn camera. All right.
All right.
We're Monster Kid Media. We're back. We're doing Friday the 13th, 1980 with Betsy Palmer.
How's that?
What is that? What's that behind you?
The poster?
Matt.
Who are you talking to?
So he's jumping ahead a little bit. We're all jumping ahead.
I'm so you know what? Whatever. And we were blocking it. So
okay,
you know.
Let me move my big head out of the way. How's that? Now this mess doesn't come in until part 3, and we're only talking about part 1, but we wanted to give props to our buddy Darren, who makes these. Former name was Ghoulish Creations. Now he's Darren Discarnate on Instagram. I'm pretty sure he's still making these. He's doing a lot of like painting and stuff now, but he puts out some awesome hockey masks. So go check him out.
Absolutely.
That's cool.
I don't know how to spell Darren Discarnate, but I'll put a link in the description. So yeah, that's
neat.
Yeah.
So when you finally got that in the light, like when it was not in the light, it kind of looked like Wolfman wearing a blue sweater because it's dark.
No, it's mom. It's mother.
That is mom. Maybe we should have saved this for Mother's Day, though.
No, we did the right one for Mother's Day.
All right.
Psycho was the one to do.
Well, we're going to have another Mother's Day.
And we better do Mother's Day at some point.
Yeah.
Oh, God damn.
Well, today, when you release it, so today is Friday the 13th. That's why we did Friday the 13th.
As long as I can get it together.
Come on, Matt, get it together.
I'm going to get it together. I'm going to get it together.
Let's see what's happening.
If you can change his hair every month, you can do this.
I got this.
That's right. Come on, man.
Yeah. So, wow, I don't know where to start. I haven't watched Friday the 13th for a while. So I went
it's been a hot minute.
And dude, I fell asleep within the first 15 minutes.
Not you.
It's so soothing to me. I was snoring, farting into the couch. So, did you guys rewatch it?
I didn't rewatch. I did watch the that long documentary thing they did with Corey Feldman.
Mm-hmm.
I did watch that not too long ago. But
Mike, did you rewatch it?
Part 1 in a while. So
all
that's
right.
normally coming up to the time frame I want to watch it outside by a campfire.
Yeah.
Well, thank goodness at least one of us rewatched it.
Did you rewatch it?
I did, and I watched a bunch of different little snippets on the first one. So I tried to find out a lot of little information that people might not know. I mean, I feel like when we get into these kind of movies, like they've been talked about over and over and over. So there's probably not a whole lot that people don't know. But yeah. I do have a lot of questions after watching this analytically. Like all these movies, rewatching them analytically changes everything.
Do you have your notes?
Yep.
Yes.
I'm just watching Stevie. Stevie's over there making faces.
I'm trying to get this light to work.
All right. Well, I gotta preface this whole thing by saying, the original was not the first one I ever watched. I mean, I was like 0 years old, 1 year old, whatever. I don't know, in 19, when it came out. So,
I think it was 80 or 81, right?
80.
1980.
80. Mm-hmm.
So
May 9th, 1980.
my love for Friday the 13th, it is not this movie. You know what I mean?
I'm sure like 70% of the people's that same way. It's like the hockey mask, Jason.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm not saying I don't love the film. I'm saying that my connection personally is to more like part 6, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
Um,
See, the first one I saw that I really remember, and I feel like we've talked about this before, maybe like in a side note, but the first one I remember seeing is 7.
oh
With,
damn, really?
yeah, that's the first one I really remember. I mean, I'm sure I saw something, but with the girl that had like the
Telekinesis.
telekinesis.
Mm-hmm.
Tina.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Tina.
Yeah.
We're
Which,
jumping
by the
back.
way, I think that was one of the best Jason, like looking. I mean, the
Oh,
way
yeah.
that Jason looked was awesome.
Yeah, he did look awesome.
We're gonna go down a whole other thing.
We got to talk about part 1, right? We're talking about
Yeah.
the original
Talking
Friday.
about part 1.
Part 1 only today. So if you want to hear about Jason,
right.
it's not the one. Maybe it was a mistake bringing hockey masks into this, but
yeah,
that's why I brought Mother in.
Steve's
there you go.
Correct.
Because I got plenty of Jason stuff, but not much of Mother. And I was like, I got to bring in Mother because we're talking about
Absolutely.
her.
Yeah.
So, where do we start?
Well,
man,
why don't we start off with the factor, like right at the beginning of it all, like how Sean Cunningham, this guy was making movies, like softcore porn movies for like relationships and stuff, cheesy stuff like that. And then worked with Wes Craven, did Last House on the Left, right? Yeah. And then which blew up, very, very good movie. And then Halloween came out, made tons of money, big uproar, and he wanted to do something like that. He wanted to do a movie that was based on a holiday.
He kind of wanted to get away from like Last House on the Left was received in a completely different way than Halloween was. Like Halloween was like scary. A lot of people were kind of grossed out by Last House on the Left.
Oh yeah.
So they kind of wanted to veer away from that. And the original working title, do you guys know what that is?
For what? Friday 13th?
Friday the 13th.
I don't remember.
A Long Night
No, I've heard
at Camp Blood.
Oh, was it? I didn't know that.
Which I think would be an awesome title.
Yeah.
But then they they like Steve said, they saw the popularity of Halloween. And they were like, well, we're going to call it Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
So
go ahead. Go ahead.
He put an ad out because they weren't sure if there were any other films called Friday the 13th. And there happened to be one like the year before called Friday the 13th, The Orphan or something. But they were able to work around it because it wasn't the exact title. So
yeah, so about that, they actually released that without having anything. Like they had no script, nothing. So they actually released that in a newspaper ad on July 4th. They said so, not having anything. They just knew that they wanted to make a horror movie. Now it's interesting, so because I didn't know that about Sean Cunningham. You said so. The thing that I watched, it was funny because he said that him and there was another guy that were doing it together. What was the other guy's name?
Oh,
I don't remember.
oh my gosh, it's on tip of my tongue because they just went to court recently.
They were doing Friday the 13th together.
Yeah. So
The
it
guy,
was
he's
funny
got
because,
tattooed sleeves. I can't think of his name right now.
well, it was funny because he, like, in this thing I watched, he didn't bring anything up about the softcore stuff. He said that they actually made kids movies,
Oh
and
yeah,
like
he did that too. Yeah.
okay, they did some kind of soccer movie that they thought was going to blow up and turn into some kind of TV series. And
Yep.
this Friday 13th was a last ditch effort to try and get enough money to get that off the ground.
Was it
Like they
Ladybug?
thought, what's up?
I said, was it Ladybug?
Lady. Oh yeah, Jonathan Brandis.
Rest in peace.
Look at that.
Didn't he say like that movie he was gonna do, the kids movie, he wanted it to be like equivalent to Bad News Bears or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he was hoping for, and it didn't happen. But God, I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on that guy.
Look it up. Because so then when they started to come up with stuff, and what they said was they pulled from their roots of understanding like children's movies, right? So they wanted to draw on the fears that everybody has, right? So the fears of monsters under the bed, the fear of the dark, um, fear of the wood. People like fear that people have of the woods, right? Um, and so they wanted to bring all that in, um, into the and like fear of like drowning, being underwater, that kind of thing. So they wanted to bring all that into this movie. That was their original thought process before they even had any kind of script. They were kind of thinking about all that.
Victor Miller? Is that who you're thinking of, Victor Miller?
That sounds right. That sounds right. I should have wrote down their names, and I didn't.
Yeah.
Awful.
This chair's driving nuts.
Every other time. What is going on with this guy?
This chair. I can't get I'm a mess. Sorry.
This is what happens when we don't meet for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We're famous now. You should be able to afford a chair.
Come on.
I have a chair. It's just like no room over here in this area.
Do we need to run a GoFundMe for a new chair for Stevie? and a light?
Well.
So I think they did a good job in putting all those things in this film. And I mean, it's not like it's not groundbreaking that you can't see the killer and it's like, who is the killer?
Yeah. Sometimes
they do like that first person shot. Like that's not anything new.
Mm-mm.
But I think they did it in a good way. And I like the twist.
Yeah, the movie was beautiful. I mean, it really is. Like when you watch it, like the cinematography is pretty awesome. And they push it sometimes too. Like they have just like scenery shots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, before we get into the movie, I mean, do you want to talk about Mother? Do you want to talk about her and how this was way not like why she picked this movie?
Because she needed a car.
Yeah,
she needed a car. Yeah, that's crazy. And she's like, "Oh, I make $10,000. I can buy this car I want."
And this was not like she didn't want to do. She said this script was like a piece of shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
She was
interested in this. And then they paid her like
$1,000 a day for 10 days of work.
Yeah, $10,000, right? Yeah. And then she got her car. But then like now she's famous, well, she's passed away now, but for one film that she did, that's what everybody kind of knew her for. She did an awesome job.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And she got a lot of crap for that too, being in that movie. Because she was, I guess, like a well-known TV star, like did TV shows. So of course that Siskel and Ebert guys, they always have crap to say about horror films. They hate them. But they were like reaming her out about this movie, and they had like people send her hate mail and stuff over it. She
Well,
was not happy.
jokes on them. It's an iconic film now.
Mhm. And they even said like the critics panned it, but you went to the movie theater and it was the #1 grossing movie in the box office.
Yeah.
They said people were lined. It's just so funny, man. I miss those days. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
people lined up outside a movie theater
Yeah.
for a movie. Everybody's so excited for it.
People just stream
And
shit now, and it's not the same. But I mean, they're bringing people back with like the popcorn buckets.
yeah,
Cool. They're just trying different things to get people back into the theaters, which I really like. But going back to Betsy Palmer's performance, there's something very like I don't know what the word is. Like when your mom was pissed off at you when you were a kid, and
mhm.
like she gets that crazy look in her eye, and she just like that. There's this woman's about to explode, and
Yep.
there is no controlling what she's gonna do, and she might kill me.
Yep.
I don't know if it was like that for you guys.
Well, the best part about your mom though is that she had kind of the same haircut.
She did. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah. So, but
yeah, right.
back when I was a kid though, it was longer.
Yeah.
We didn't start cutting it like shorter till the 90s, but that crazy ass look, like, like this woman might kill me.
I mean, your mom kind of looks like her. Like they have similarities.
Well, yes, like especially when she gets mad, she's like, I'm gonna fuck you up.
I'm not going to comment at all on this because, I
Oh,
don't know if your
Ma-
mom will see it or not.
Matt's mom is a lovely lady. I love her to death.
Yep.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
she's been our moms for forever. So, um, yeah, there's something about though, like everybody kind of, well, with the exception of films like Sleepaway Camp, it was primarily like a male killer. That's kind of what you expected, and then you see this female, and it's, I don't know, like the mom, the wrath of the mom, you don't mess with it, and like she did an excellent job, like
Yeah.
portraying it.
This is one of the first movies I can remember where you actually feel for the killer. Like
Mhm.
you have, she's doing it for the right reasons, she's not just like a maniac killing, you know, she is trying to stop the camp from being reopened because her son died there.
Yeah,
So I mean, I get it. There's actually a story to where you can relate to her and, feel bad for her.
Yeah. Which is
But
what I like about, which sets Friday the 13th apart, right? Which is that twist, which is pretty awesome. And again, it's one of those things that I think that we were I don't know the right word, deprived of, or that was stolen from us because we didn't see it when it first came out, right? So we kind of knew, you kind of already knew what it was all about. So that twist, I like everything in that movie. There was a lot in that movie, and I think that Tom Savini might be the star of the whole thing because of what he was able to do
oh
with
yeah.
that movie. Like he took that movie from here. I mean, you know what I mean? It's just,
I think the
we'll get
two
into that.
big people that saved this movie, made this movie as iconic as it was Savini and Manfredini. His score is just Harry
Oh yeah,
Manfredini's music
you
and
guys are
score.
yeah.
you guys are touching everything that I want to touch on. You said something, I want to go back though. When I saw when I was watching Friday the 13th, I was too young to understand what was going on. I was probably way too young to be watching horror films. But
No, at four, you were watching horror films. That's
so
You're a late bloomer.
yeah,
like
out
being
the womb.
a kid, I saw Jason, and Jason was scary, like this Jason.
Yeah,
Um, but then like if this movie was on USA or whatever, and I would watch it as a kid, it wasn't ruined for me because I knew the ending. It was ruined for me because where the fuck is Jason? And
Yeah.
why is this woman? Like I didn't really my
You didn't
brain,
understand it.
yeah, it was too young to understand the storyline and what was really going
Mhm.
on. But
Yeah.
and then I want to jump back to you said we were talking about Tom Savini and how he's the star of Friday the 13th. How he
Mhm.
added in, it was his idea to do the final scene with where Jason jumps out of the water.
But there's that joke that there's like a handful of people that say that they're uh the ones who came up with that ending
Came up with
scene.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we really don't know for sure who did it.
And then that Jason was played by Ari Lehman, who has a punk metal band, like rock band, whatever, called the First Jason,
Yeah.
which is awesome. I love that he embraces that character still.
Mhm.
Did you know Sean Cunningham's son was supposed to play that originally?
I didn't.
No,
What?
he didn't. His mom wouldn't let him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the mom was like, because I get it was so cold out and everything. She's like, you are not because I guess it was like 4 hours that Ari was in the water for the to get the scene right. And she would not allow her son to do it because, being in the water like that and the movie itself, she just didn't want him to be any part of it. He's bummed by it. Like in that documentary I told you I just recently watched,
Yeah.
um, he's talking in it and he's like, I could have been the first Jason. Thanks, mom, or something like that.
I'm gonna be honest with you. That's my favorite scene of the film.
Really?
I mean, it's a
Yes,
There's a
great scene.
couple really good scenes in that movie.
Yeah.
that's my favorite scene.
It's a
And,
scary scene. It's definitely a scary scene.
yeah.
I love the
And I
sound.
like how they. Oh, go ahead.
Well,
Go ahead.
the music is playing that calm. And
Mm-hmm.
you're like, okay, it's the end. Everything's cool. She's gonna hit the shoreline. They're gonna pull her out of the boat, whatever. And this dude comes up out of the water. It's like, damn, I was
Oh,
not ready for that.
yeah, yeah.
You know what's funny is that everybody says how calm that music is, but now that I know what happens, that music changes, right? Like I never think of that music as calm, and it's just a weird, eerie music to me now. They're like, "Oh, this calm music." Like it's not calm.
Well, yeah,
It's
it
like
changes after you know what's
it's
going to
that
happen, but
right, but it's still that '80s like synthesis. Like it's I don't know. It's funny, but um,
That's
you know,
my alarm on my when I wake up. Not every
it's
morning. I wake up to that really soft one every morning, but if I'm like somewhere else, I'll put that as my alarm to wake up.
that would never
nice.
wake me up.
It's peaceful.
No,
I
It
would
wakes
just
you up
wake
when
up
he
and
comes out of the water.
yeah. Um, what I like how they fit it in was that they kept it they wanted to keep the movie rooted in reality, and so the fact that they made it almost like it was her dreaming about it, they made it so it didn't become supernatural. Stevie, I know you like that. But I think that they realized that they had something there and they needed to just continue it, and it became what it became.
Well,
But
I mean,
going back to the music,
it
what's
was,
up?
it was a dream.
Huh?
That whole sequence was a dream.
Well,
Yeah.
they're saying that it was a dream,
Mhm.
but but that's why they were able to do it, because they wanted to keep it um, like a realistic movie,
Yeah.
like a realistic one, instead of like everybody thinking, oh, this is supernatural. But with him jumping out, they turned it into her waking up as a dream to keep it like rooted in reality. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
Until
again, it opened it up. Obviously, it opened itself up to what it became. Um, but the music, the score, apparently that whole synthesizer thing, the famous, you know, Ma Kill thing was something that had just come out with synthesizers. Like it had just been created.
Well, let's
And this was the
I don't
first
mean,
time it was ever used.
but let's for the people that don't know who are watching, you're talking about the echo effect, right? For the kick.
Yeah, the echo effect. Yeah.
So I wanna pause real quick and not pause, but um interject. So everybody knows that that noise is Jason,
Hmm.
and people thought it was like it's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
It's it's two words, and it's taken from the film when Betsy Palmer is talking to herself in her head, and she's using Jason's voice, and she says, "Kill her, mommy." So Henry is a Manfredi,
Hmm.
Manfredini.
Manfredini. He took "kill" and "mom" and just went "k," and it used the echo effect that Mike's talking about. That's new, like "k," and then so if you listen to it, it's "k, k, k." So a lot of people they try to emulate or where they're like "ch, ch, ch."
Yeah.
So
I
now
mean,
you
it does sound like that a little bit.
well yeah, because
It's,
of that effect.
you know,
But I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt, but I wanted to put that little
no, no, please do. Cause I mean, you've, you've gone to Crystal Lake, right?
camp.
Have you both gone?
Nobody.
I haven't gone, no.
Yeah, so they do tours there, and they had like the original Crystal Lake sign, and you could go down to the cabins. Um, it's a really cool experience. It's in New Jersey, and then you could go to like the Blairstown Diner, which is the diner that she goes to in the very beginning. Um, and they embrace the franchise. Like they'll have a Friday the 13th menu. There, I think there's a Jason Voorhees burger or something. I
That's
have
awesome.
the menu somewhere. And they're also, which I really liked, and I don't remember if I took them a patch, but they're very like fire and police uh friendly. Like they get patches from all over the
Oh,
country,
that's cool.
and they're all over the walls. So I wanted to take them patches, but I don't think I ended up doing that. But
It is cool.
I have a
Um,
little tidbit of something to throw in there about that area. I told you already before, Matt, I believe, but when they were filming Friday the 13th there, right across the lake, exact same area, it's completely accidental. They were shooting the original Mother's Day
mhm.
right across the lake there. So some of the scenes, like that windy road that they give the shot of before the girl, like when the girl gets in the truck with the guy and he's taking her to Crystal Lake at the beginning, they
mhm.
have that road actually in Mother's Day, just the road. But I guess everyone in Mother's Day were jealous of the Friday the 13th cast because they had like their own little cabins to stay in and they could shower and stuff, whereas Mother's Day was such a low budget movie, they had absolutely nothing. And it was like winter time out when everyone was filming and stuff, so it was like really cold. And they said on Mother's Day they didn't shower for like a week and a half or something like that while filming because they had no means of doing it. And they only ate like bologna sandwiches. But there was this, not the diner you're talking about, but there was a diner down there that they went to eat at the end of the shoot, and they actually met up with the cast of Friday the 13th, and they all had like a dinner together and autographed the tile
That's
in the
really
restaurant thing. But I thought that was very interesting. Like,
did that is super cool. And I don't know if you guys ever heard this. I don't know how true it is, but did you hear about Lou Reed, the rock star, visiting the set of Crystal Lake when they were filming it?
Mhm.
I don't know if that's probably something I should fact check before I say it, but I'm pretty sure that he lived around that area and he would visit the set every once in a while and play
Oh,
music for him.
that would
that's
be
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Um, so I mean, are we just gonna kind of do this? Like, I mean, I don't know. Are we gonna recap? We're not really gonna recap the movie, right? Like, I mean,
no, I mean we were talking about the soundtrack too. I wanted to touch on that
yeah.
before we get away from it. Um, the soundtrack is a lot. it's almost like a character because
yeah.
you hear the music come up when you know that the killer's coming, and it's kind of reminiscent of like a Jaws type thing.
Yeah, they used a lot of tubas, right? Is that what that is? It sounds like a tuba.
I don't know what it is.
I have no idea.
It's some brass.
No clue.
I wouldn't say it's
Trumpets.
as like a Halloween soundtrack, but it's just as important. Like that,
Yes.
he did an incredible job, and he needs to be recognized for it. We got to talk about him. And like Mike was saying, he created that whole sound with the echo effect.
Yeah.
So, again, I interrupted you. I'm sorry. I just want to touch on that soundtrack. And I got the record. Now listen to it.
You got the record?
Waxwork put all the Friday the 13th records out.
Oh, and they're
Yeah, I mean,
done.
It has so many different types too. Like it like different. Like when I was watching it, like I was like, oh man, yeah, this kind of sound is connected. This sound is connected. It's very good. It's very good. And I think it's great because it matches the scenery of the woods, the cabins, just everything. It's everything how it was made was great.
I think so too.
So
let's hear your notes. What do you got in your notes?
I have a lot. Again, I don't know if we're gonna go. Again, I think everybody that's watching this knows the movie, right?
Kevin Bacon's first film.
Huh?
Kevin Bacon's first film.
Kevin Bacon's first film, obviously, yeah. So I guess we can talk about Tom Savini a little bit, okay?
Yeah.
So all right. So we can all agree probably that Kevin Bacon's scene is probably the most iconic kill in that movie.
Yes, it's definitely
outside of Mother's kill.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, and the thing I was watching, the way they did it, and again, this might be just well known, but to do it, and the way they wanted to do it was that they wanted everybody to think, okay, up high, because they showed I can't remember his name. It wasn't Bill. It was I don't know, it was one of the guys that he was dead on the top bunk, right? Mm-hmm. And then they were doing what they were doing down there, and then
what was they doing?
I don't know. They was scrumping. They were talking about different things.
All right,
a thing or two about a thing or two, and and I honestly, I'm going all over the place. One thing I really like about this movie is that it had jump scares, but not your typical jump scares. They were really, and it's really easy to know now, but they did it to a thing where you just kind of felt relaxed. They got you to a point where you were almost relaxed, and then they did it. Like they didn't. There wasn't a rise in the music, so you knew something was coming. It just kind of happened. Sometimes there was, like with the girl that got the axe in the head. You saw the axe, you knew it was going to happen. But Kevin Bacon's, that was surprising. Like he's just sitting there smoking a cigarette, and then all of a sudden it comes from underneath. Like you don't think that's gonna. I mean, there's no way people thought that was gonna happen, And so how they did it was it was just his head, and he was under the bed, and Savini, like everything was prosthetic from here down, and Savini took an arrow and put it through a blood bag or an ice bag or something that was filled with blood. And when he put it through, and when you see him twist, like when you see the arrow twist, that's him trying to make the hole bigger so that the blood starts coming out and spurting out, which was cut, by the way. And I'm sure you guys know that they had to cut like 10 seconds worth of kills to make this from being a NC-17 or rated X movie to a rated R movie.
Yeah.
And it's so funny to see today because it's really not that different. It's just like a little blood spurting that they took out, right?
Yeah.
But that, that kind of stuff by Savini was really awesome. The girls with the axe in her head. Um, one thing he talked about was making the axe believable, that you don't think it's rubber, right? So one thing he did was he made it so you heard it. He made it so it sounded like you heard it hit the lamp that was hanging. So it made that like clink sound, and then you see it next in her head. And
So
one
it
thing
ties
that
the,
was actually kind of interesting about that, what's up?
so it ties the audio together in your
It,
brain with the visual.
in your brain, yeah. Then it makes that thump sound, and we take stuff like that for granted today, right? Uh, but it was cool because when it hits and you see her falling down, you kind of see her eye like kind of blink and twitch, which is really cool.
Mhm.
Like it's the practical effects, man. We've talked about that. Like there's nothing like a practical effect.
No, there's
Yeah.
so much
Nothing.
more behind it than just typing in whatever you want. You have to think, what would this look like in real life, and how can I make it happen? Which is Savini is a master at.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Even that first kill, the girl. Well, the first real kill,
The throat slashing.
right? Not I'm not talking about the shoot. Yeah. Which I want to kind of get into because I have some big questions about this scene. Now you guys didn't rewatch it, but when you rewatch it, I want you to pay attention. So Savini was very clear with so in an interview I saw with him, he was very clear that a lot of the scenes had his friends, his one of his best friends. I can't remember his name. I wrote it down, but it has his best friend's hands in it.
Yeah.
That scene in particular, it looks like a guy is coming up and does the throat slash, and in the really quick cuts, it looks like they're wearing a burlap sack on their head when they cut. Now, the thing I watched, Savini even said, the first kill when Jason comes and kills her. Like he says when Jason comes and kills her. I was like, that's weird.
Hmm.
If you watch that scene, it's guy's hands, and then when the slash happens, like it's a flannel shirt, and it looks like a big dude. Like it doesn't look like an old lady, right?
Yeah.
And then there's a quick snap of the face, but it's not a face, it's a burlap sack. And I wish you guys would have watched it because you guys would have seen it. Watch it again though.
Yeah. I'm
And
going.
that's really messing with me.
I'll watch it tonight.
Yeah, that's
No,
interesting.
you won't. No,
I
you won't.
I
You'll
will
fall
watch
asleep
that.
before that scene comes up.
It's like in the first 15 minutes.
Listen, I'm
Yeah.
telling you, watch that scene really closely. And so there's a couple other parts too, because right after that scene, they're all in the lake, right?
Yeah.
Hanging out, and you see a hand like push the bushes. Again, it's a man's hand wearing a ring that you see later on in the movie,
Hmm.
and it's his friend's hand. Now, in fairness, I mean, I don't know. It was a low budget film, so they did what they could, right? But it's a guy's hand, and he even says at the end when her head gets chopped off, it's his best friend's hands that are going like this. He's
Yeah.
like, so if you look, you can see hair on the knuckles. I don't have to see hair on the knuckles. I see man's hands, like you know what I mean.
That's a man.
Um, that's a man, baby. uh,
Well, let me interject real quick. I was
yeah,
talking to Ari Lehman at some meet and greet thing, signing autographs. And I'm pretty sure it was him. He was saying that you can tell by the artwork and the outline of the poster, and I can't tell, but the outline that has like the silhouette and then the woods inside the silhouette. He's telling me like, look, this is a woman's figure. You can see the woman's hips. I can't see it.
I can't see it.
But he swears. I'm pretty sure it was him that said it, but I could be wrong because there were a bunch of actors there at the same time. But he said if you look at the poster, it gives away the ending. But
Ah.
where anyway,
Yeah. but you guys got to watch that part. Anybody watching this, watch that part and tell me if I'm wrong. And maybe it's like maybe it's a quick look at the front of the flannel, but it looks like a burlap sack. Um, yeah, it's weird, and I feel like they were trying to make it seem like it was the dude. What was his name? Was it Steve, the guy that opened
Oh,
up the
the
camp again?
camp guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So when the first girl got picked up, I'm guessing they tried to make it seem like it was him, right? Because it was the same Jeep, but it just had the top up.
Yep.
And then you saw him later with the top up at the place.
Yeah, misdirection. I figured that's what they were trying to do too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, that dude is super creepy that I never realized until I watched it this time. At the beginning, what's the main girl's name?
Alice.
Alice. Yeah, Alice. She's like up there, like putting stuff up on the roof, and she made a drawing of him the night before. It's like, do I look like this? She's like, you look like that last night. I'm like, what the heck? And he's like, I just never really paid much attention to it.
Well, I just
There was
assumed
supposed to
that
be
they
a
had-
relationship.
Yeah, I assumed that they were in some sort of relationship.
Yeah.
And he looks older, but
Yeah.
people back then just looked older anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he
Yeah,
was probably just a few years older than her. Maybe, I don't know, a couple of years older. But I don't know. People in the 70s who were 30 look like they're 50 now.
Yeah.
With their
Like how many
clothes.
movies?
Yeah, but they're like in their
70s we watched?
teens. They're like,
How many movies from 70s we watched were like high school kids or there with like big hairy chests and
Yeah.
you know it was just a different time. I think it's because they could drink when they were 18.
70s were a rough time for those folks.
yeah. Walking around with his ascot with no shirt and
Yep.
jean shorts.
Yep. That was tough.
It was like what is
It was tough.
One thing I will say about this film, and it's a negative thing. I don't give a shit about any of those characters. Like
No.
I didn't have any kind of connection with any of them. It wasn't like a,
Yeah, it didn't
you
really.
know what I mean? Like they were all victims. They were all meat to be killed.
I only really had feelings for Crazy Ralph.
Yeah, Ralph was cool.
Yeah,
Like,
right?
which is weird. I agree with that. Like I care about Ralph.
Yeah, I feel bad for the man.
I didn't even.
They should have
really-
had him be killed, right?
What's that?
They should have had him be killed, right? Or something. Because the last time we saw him was he rode off on his bike. And that's
Well,
it. We don't see him again.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
You got to stay tuned for the sequels.
Yep. To be continued.
Even Alice, like, I didn't care.
I didn't really care for her like at all. Like really, I liked Amy Steele a little bit more. Than I liked her. I think.
Yeah, Adrian Steele's. We're gonna jump ahead, but Adrian Steele's character, or Amy Steele.
Amy Steele. Adrian is the girl from part 1.
Yeah, Adrian King. Amy Steele from part 2. Her character was much more relatable and likable. I don't know why. Adrian King. I'm not taking anything away from her performance, but just that character. It's like I could take it or leave it. Kill her. I don't care. You know.
I agree with that.
And then I had like an incident when I met her, and it was like really shortly after COVID, so everybody was out of their minds. But if like you're that scared, stay home. And so I had her sign my Friday the 13th poster, and I gave her the poster, and I gave her the marker to sign it, and she signed it. And I'm like, I took the poster and the marker back, and I went to shake her hand. I was gonna say, thanks for coming out and signing this for us. And she was like, COVID. Like, you just touched the pen and the poster that I handed you. But you know what I mean? Like if my hand is in my ass crack, it's on that poster and it's on the marker.
It was a weird time, man. That was a weird time, man.
People were
Look,
out of their mind.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna pick and choose because you're making money off this marker and this poster. It's okay, but
The
I
handshake
don't want to
Steve.
fucking shake his hand.
Well, she might have taken that like she was probably using that as a thing to not have to shake your hand. You know, like she went through some crap
Do I look like a dirty person to you?
with that movie. No,
Yeah, I
not
heard that.
dirtiness. With that movie, like she had a stalker.
You know,
Like,
a fist bump. What is? Hey, COVID.
yeah.
well, then why don't you go in with the fist bump?
Well, because I don't give a shit. I wasn't worried about it. You know.
Yeah, wasn't worried about it, but he ended up like not being able to taste anything for how long after?
I still can't smell,
Yeah,
but I don't.
yeah. He can't smell anything.
I don't smell farts. I don't smell rotting things. It's a superpower.
It is a super.
It is. But yeah, did you I'm sure you guys knew about that, how she had that main stalker guy after her. Like she was one of the first ones to ever come out with that. Like she never like it was someone she actually knew, I guess.
I
But
really didn't know much about it. I did hear about it, but I don't really know much about it.
I guess well, they didn't release a whole lot about it, but she was saying in that documentary I watched about how, you know, there was a stalker after her that was leaving her messages and was places where, you know, show up places where she was at, and this guy's getting all this information. She had no idea how, and to find out it was actually someone that was in her camp that was the stalker that was like hunting her down stuff, and like she actually had a gun put to her head from the sky and everything. So I'm sure she's dealing with some crazy.
And Matt's just out there just willy-nilly throwing out his hand. How dare you?
Hey, thanks for coming. You just be like, yeah, thanks. You gotta be
Don't
rude
care about
about it.
anything you've been through.
So why don't we talk
Not
about
like,
the characters?
hey, it's not like I was like, oh, thank you so much. Let me put my hands up. It was just,
Can I
hey,
give you a kiss on the cheek?
if I put my hand and somebody's like, no, COVID, like I just handed you stuff.
I
So
get where you're coming from too. I get it. I totally get where you're coming from.
I take offense, but who really gives a shit what I think? You know,
I get what you're saying.
fuck it.
It's
I'm
plastic. It doesn't stick.
not doing it anymore. Fuck it. I'm not touching anybody anymore.
So since we're talking about Adriana King, we should talk about the characters in this movie. Since we already brought that up about not caring about them, you know?
Yeah.
Like you said,
This should be quick.
What?
This will be quick.
Nothing.
Well, like you said, it was you know, Kevin Bacon.
Mhm.
There's one like his first film or whatever. Which I thought he did pretty good in it, you know. I enjoyed the stuff that he was in, you know.
Mhm.
It wasn't anything phenomenal. They didn't try to overwork him. I think all he did was theater at the time
Mhm.
before he came in to do this. But they said how like all the girls at that time even had a huge crush on him.
Yeah.
Or like trying to mac on him.
Yeah, that the Kavorka, he had the star quality.
Yeah.
He calls it, yeah, Naylor calls it the Kavorka.
I think that's from like Seinfeld or something. But like
Oh.
when you're out with Mike, everybody treats him like Bon Jovi.
Oh, shut up. You're such an idiot.
Is that Mike? Oh my gosh.
He's an idiot.
Autograph. And everybody's trying to shake his hands, and he's like, nope, COVID.
Yeah. No more. No
Fuck, you can't
mas.
touch me.
Yeah, so the one I wish I remembered names, but maybe it was the guy that was super annoying. Oh, by the way, speaking of characters, the cop,
Yeah.
the police officer, he was fantastic. He was hilarious. Like when I watched it and I was paying attention to him, he's hilarious.
I thought he
was
was
like
shit on the motorcycle.
You what?
I thought he was going to eat shit on the motorcycle.
That was the first I believe that guy has never ridden a motorcycle in his life. Because when he turns, he's the whole time
he really
shaking everywhere.
Did he wreck it in real life?
Yeah, when they were filming, he said he messed up his hip. he wrecked
yeah,
it.
dude. I feel like that was like they were like, "Hey, you're gonna ride a motorcycle. Do you want some lessons?" Nah, I don't need lessons. Like that. It just seems like,
I got this.
but it fit the character. When Kevin Bacon came out and he's just like, "You smoking the
Yeah.
weed, the reefer, the like the gold.
Hashish,
I can't
hashish
even
or something
remember
like
the
that.
golden chuba. Like
Yeah.
he's like, hey, coaches, he's like, enough. Like
Cool it,
I was
Tom.
like,
That's great. We're all a little crazy here.
yeah,
So, I mean,
great.
they're
His name was Dorf. I think his name was Dorf, is what it was.
that character's name was
I think so. I'll look it up. I'll see in my notes. I wrote it down.
that
Yeah,
character that the officer, the cop plays, has been emulated throughout the years.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Halloween 5 is one that really sticks out to me.
yeah, Cabin Fever, that weird cop that comes up, and I think it's Cabin Fever.
Oh, the younger guy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it reminds me of
You
that.
guys party, that party guy or whatever.
Yeah.
So also you had Bing Crosby's son in this movie.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yes. I forget his name in the movie, but he was the one that he was the
Did he beat his wife too?
I don't know. I don't know.
Allegedly, I don't know if that really happened. I love me some Bing Crosby Christmas music though. Go ahead.
When he was there, I guess like he was telling stories about his dad and everything and songs and whatnot, but Tom Savini almost blinded him.
Really?
That yeah. He
You know,
his death scene when he died, I guess like there's blood on his face and everything, and Savini used this stuff that cleaned off the tape, the cassette, like the footage tape. It was like some special cleaner.
Yeah.
And
Steve, I don't know what you're saying.
what the heck?
Just hold on. You gotta. I'm sure everybody watching is listening. I'm sorry.
You and Matt are like laughing over here, like
You know,
It's fine.
what's going on? Have you
you're
guys been
saying
smoking
very
hashish?
interesting things, and I
Keep
don't want to
going,
miss it.
Stevie. Keep going. Michael listen when he rewatches this.
I don't want to miss it.
Yeah, go ahead. Keep
I'm sorry. I had to have you stop because I
Tom
don't know what you're
Savini-
saying. Go back.
Tom
I just happened
Savini.
to look up and I see Matt like rolling over here, and I see you rolling down there, and I'm like, what is so funny? What happened? What's going on? Did I do something, or are you still the Bing
No.
Crosby thing, or what is it?
All right. You guys got to stop fucking around.
Yeah.
Steve.
Yeah, Stevie, enough. You
I'm
know,
the worst. I'm the worst. I know. Jesus, can't take anything serious over here.
we bring up Bing Crosby and everything goes to shit.
Yeah, it does. It just it goes under quickly.
All right.
It does.
Bing Crosby's son almost got blinded by Tom Savini by some film cleaner.
Yeah, he used the film cleaner. I don't know if he used it to make the blood run more on his face or if it was to clean the blood off, but it got in his eyes and they didn't know it was, would do anything. And he said it got in there and then his eyes started hurting real bad. And then he was like blind for like 3 weeks or something like that. They had to rush him to the hospital after that and everything. Crazy. They had to put like things on his eyes so he couldn't see like light or anything.
Oh. Was that like after his death scene, or did he have to return? Okay, so he didn't.
He was luckily done shooting at this point.
So what was his death scene?
How did he die?
So I just saw it, and there's a lot of off-screen deaths, right?
For some reason, I want to say he had unless if I'm thinking of part 2, but like barbed wire or something around his neck.
No. So was he the one that was on the top bunk?
No.
Okay. Was that the annoying? So I feel like these horror movies back in the day had to have one really annoying guy.
Yeah.
And
that was him.
That was the annoying guy that acted like an Indian, is like, you know what I mean? Yeah, he was super annoying. So
actually. Was
He
that
played. He must have played Bill then, and he was hanging on the back of a door then, right? When she closed
Yes.
the door, he was hanging there with arrows in him.
Yes,
Which
that's what
we
it
never.
was.
So we didn't see his death. We didn't see the girl that went out to the archery. Which, by the way, that whole thing was kind of weird. That she like literally like in the pouring rain went out in the whatever went out in the pouring rain in her nightgown, like didn't even put anything on, and she ended up getting killed. But um, yeah. So we can talk. All right, you want to talk about the deaths then? Like what? Like so the deaths that were shown that we can put in order. So you had the girl at the beginning
well,
with her
Well, at
throat
the
slashed.
beginning.
you had the couple.
You had well the couple, yeah, the couple. Okay, the couple.
And I
But you
really
had
like the
Kevin
way they
Bacon.
did that. They didn't show it, but how they
Yeah,
froze it with like the hand up with her screaming.
yeah,
That would have made an awesome poster, I think.
it would have. Yeah,
For the
absolutely. And I like how when you watch it again, like most of the time you realize like people aren't really like thinking about being killed because it's her, right? So they're kind of like, oh, I'm sorry, like you know what I mean? Because they're
yeah,
seeing
yeah.
this lady, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like it's not this scary person. Now I'm gonna go back to the girl that got her throat slashed. Her reaction was completely different than these other people. Like she's seeing this huge guy with a burlap sack on his head.
So
I'm gonna have to watch it and see that.
You have to watch it again. You got to see that part.
so that character, that was and it goes back to the relatability of the characters. The girl who gets her throat slit is
Yeah.
probably one of the most likable characters, and she's
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
because she's like the first one you're kind of introduced to. She's nice to the dog at the gas pumps. She goes in
hmm
super friendly to like these strangers in this diner. Um,
I have something about that. Keep going.
well, and then I don't know. Maybe times are different too. I'm getting off track, but once she gets out of the diner and she gets into the guy's truck, you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The truck driver takes his hands and palms her ass and pushes her up into the
Yeah.
truck. Now,
Yeah.
I don't remember a time where that wouldn't make somebody uncomfortable, but she was just like, whatever, like get your ass up. You're young, get up in that truck yourself.
Yeah.
I don't need to be handsy, you know?
Yeah. It was kind of unnecessary because they didn't make him creepy in the truck.
No,
So it was almost again it was that unnecessary. But I guess it was I can only think that it was meant to make you feel uneasy. That's the only thing I can think of
like maybe this guy
because it was
us.
yeah. By the way, I want to go. That cemetery looks like it'd be cool. By the way, the one.
It does, and I didn't go there, but I thought that too right before I fell asleep.
Yeah, because you went there. So why didn't you go to the cemetery if it's right there?
I don't know,
Okay.
didn't go.
Um.
But so,
So when
do you think that
yeah,
that's the only person that was killed on screen by this different entity?
yes,
Okay.
yes. And it's because of her reaction. It's and honestly, see, when they do the cut, it again, I could be wrong, but it definitely looks. It's different than a flannel shirt. It definitely looks like a burlap sack, which is really strange. It doesn't make any sense. But yeah. Uh, so when she goes into the gas station or the corner store at the beginning, there was a guy, and it was the busboy, kind of the sweep. He was sweeping, and I was like, I've seen that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I looked him up, and like, yeah, he's been in a lot of things. And I looked up his name. His name was I lost it. I don't know.
I
But
think that every time I see that guy, I'm like, I definitely have seen this guy before. I have no idea where, but that
Yeah.
finish is super familiar.
Um, talk amongst yourselves. I'll try to find his name.
Do you know what else he was in?
Erwin Keys. Erwin Keys. He was in the Warriors, House of a Thousand Corpses. Corpses.
Yeah, he was the guy pushing them, the big guy with the mask.
Yes. Yes. Yep. Yeah. But he's been in. I mean, I looked it up. Like tons of like B horror movies, that kind of thing.
I didn't know he was
'Cause-
in the Warriors. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, because again, like you, when I saw him, I was like, I've seen this guy, and I was like, he's just one of those guys that probably is put like Ron Howard's brother. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
you've seen him in a bunch of movies. You just don't quite know
they
what you've
stand
seen
out.
him in.
That look,
Clint
yeah.
Howard has a face you can't forget.
No,
No.
no.
But all right, so ranking the kills. I mean, I think Kevin Bacon's is number one.
Kevin
That
Bacon.
throat slit was really good though.
Whose is?
Throat slit.
I mean, it is. Yeah, yeah.
Um,
So the ones that we see are Kevin Bacon. We see the throat slit. We see the girl get the axe in the head. We see Steve get kind of whatever. Like that one's lame. And then Mrs. Voorhees.
yeah, Mrs. Voorhees' death is the most iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I do love anything that has to do with the neck is kind of makes me a little squeamish. That throat
Yeah.
slit for me that might have been it.
I love how they like they make it white, so like the bones and like everything. It's to think that that was done in 1980 is phenomenal. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
So
And Savini, what's up?
Kevin Bacon's death is your favorite.
Yeah, I know it's really, I mean, probably cliche, but I like everything about it. I like that it's so surprising. You're not expecting it. Like you're expecting him to die, right? I think at that point.
Yeah.
But the way it happens, you're definitely not expecting the way it happens.
You brought up about that scene and how he had to punch a hole in the bag. But did you also hear how when they were pumping the blood through the tube for the blood to come up through it, as he was pumping it, there was too much pressure, so the line popped off. So the guy, Savini's friend that we see his hands up, grabbed the tube and blew in the tube, and that's why the blood just squirts out like that, like shoots out right away really quick. It's because
it almost choked him. Right? It almost choked him
I don't know about
because
the
blood was
choking.
the blood was coming back, so he had to do it to survive because he had to blow it out because it was coming back in his mouth.
Ugh,
and he was swallowing it. Yeah, that's nuts.
So what's your favorite death scene in this movie, Stevie?
Like you said, Mrs. Voorhees is very iconic, you know. See, I really like Kevin Bacon's death scene. It's really cool looking, but it's also, if you look close up, you see the latex and stuff on him.
I mean,
you see that in the neck. That girl at the beginning, when she gets her throat cut, I don't see a flaw in that throat slit at all. Like it's just straight up. It's almost like a paper cut on your finger, you know. It's just like there.
You're right. I mean, and it just kind of opens.
Yeah.
And
that one definitely made me cringe. I that one I think is my favorite just because of the cringe factor with it, you know.
I mean, that one was done by Jason, so
yeah. Hey,
I'm gonna say throat slit too.
You're gonna say throat slit too?
For me, it's the most like that character is the most relatable. It sucks the most, and it's the best effect well, it's the effect that I like the most. It's not the best effect, but
The
Yeah.
snake was rough when they killed the snake.
Yeah, that's really interesting how they did. Like, I don't know what they did there.
It's a real
'Cause
snake.
Oh, is it?
They really killed a snake. Yeah.
Oh, all right. I
That's
didn't know
real.
that.
Yeah. That's why I said that, like joking a little bit. But yeah, that was a real snake that they had
Okay.
in that scene.
Oh,
But
I didn't. I had no idea. That's crazy. Okay.
nothing funny about killing real snakes,
no, right?
Stevie.
Well, Steve likes animal killing, so
That's
we
like-
know this.
Oh,
And,
jeez.
You know,
and babies.
half those kids went to the bar, right, that night?
No, that's part 2.
That part 2?
Yeah.
And they're just, yeah, that was part 2.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
that bar
but-
scene, there's a lot to talk about with that scene when we talk about that movie.
When we get to part 2?
Yeah.
We're gonna do part 2. Okay.
Not
Well,
tonight.
if you guys want to, but I would assume you guys are going to want to get to Jason. Talk about that, you know.
To eventually, but
But yeah, I gotta say, that throat cut scene was the roughest, I think. But like I said, Kevin Bacon's would have been if it wasn't for that latex there from him. Like you said, he was on his knees and everything. Like they really made that neck long, and you could tell that there's, you know, but it looks really good. It did its job for sure.
Yeah.
But
what I will say that all the scenes that they actually showed something legit were awesome. So the throat slit, Kevin Bacon, the axe to the axe to the head was amazing too. Like, and then you know, Miss Voorhees, they were all awesome.
Yeah.
And I kind of understand why they had a lot of off-screen kills, because I'm sure budget. I mean, it takes so much time to probably do that back then, right?
Oh yeah.
You know, and so, but so I can appreciate that.
Half the stuff they used for the effects on that were recycled stuff. It wasn't even like, you know, he brought it because he just got done shooting Dawn of the Dead. That, like, doing the effects for that. That's what actually got him this job, was Dawn of the Dead. So he used a lot of props and stuff from that in this movie.
what's in your notes?
What do you guys think of the? Well, I got lots of notes.
All right.
So I don't want this to continue too much longer, but what do you guys think of the final battle, the final between them? I mean, it went as far as final things go. This went a long time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I didn't get the timing, but it had to be 10 minutes.
It lasted for a minute for sure. And I see a lot of correlation with this in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like scenes like that, you know, like as far as the brutality in the fighting, you know, because they did the same thing, like how we talked about in Texas Chainsaw. The cook was like hitting her with the stick and stuff, you know, but he was afraid to really hit. I guess that was the thing with Betsy Palmer and yeah, her. Why am I doing blank? Alice. Yeah, like I guess all
there were no stunt doubles. It was all them.
And
which is
like
crazy.
slapping, and I guess when she like really slapped her, like Sean Cunningham told her, just lay into her, just hit her, and I guess Alice like tattled on her. I was like, Sean, she really hit me, because it just looked fake all the way up to that, and he was like, yeah, I told her to, because it just looked fake, but it was crazy. Yeah.
Which that's you know, it's so funny because that scene it's weird. It's she starts slapping her, and you kind of. I found myself kind of like chuckling because of what this woman has done, and now she's just smacking this girl. And to think what they've made us believe that she's done, and she's just
slapping her.
So I'm laughing to myself, but to know that it's all legit makes it pretty cool. Like, that they did this for hours. Like they're talking, they had to do this at night, so they're talking 2, 3 in the morning, and they've all, and again, like you said, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, they got so immersed in these roles that they kind of just forgot where they were, what they were doing,
Really
and
went crazy for a minute.
yeah, and that's interesting. But
Yeah.
I always find myself just kind of laughing when she's smacking.
It's a very like 70s thing to me.
Smacking?
The whole like fight thing, I don't know. It's maybe the cinematography of it, maybe like the smacking, like I don't know. It just seems like something that you would see in a 70s film, early 80s
Mhm.
film. I
Yeah.
don't know that
Um,
you wouldn't really see that in films today, but you see it
no,
in Chainsaw Massacre when he's like, smacking her with a stick. She's
so
smacking her with a hand.
I
Yeah.
was trying to think of the order I was going to do things in, but I think there's a lot in these kind of movies that you would never see today, right? And this movie is probably one of the most um biggest. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the word. I'm not gonna think of the word right now. But they do things in this movie to elongate it. They want a movie to reach a certain time frame, right?
Yeah.
And if you look at this movie, they could have done this movie probably under an hour,
Mhm.
easy.
Yeah.
So so what I did was I took down all the things that were the mundane things that they did to elongate this movie, which there could be many more, right? So first you see the thing that took a long time, right? The guy's chopping wood. You're watching them chop wood for whatever, however long, right?
Yeah.
And you got her putting stuff up on the roof, another mundane task. They play Monopoly for an insane amount of time.
Oh yeah, the strip
You're
mall.
watching them roll the dice and just move characters. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That's time
You
that
got
they
the
spent with character development.
I guess. I guess.
Yeah.
Um, that can be fine, right? All right, but then what about they literally spend an entire moment of her peeing? Okay, entire time that she needs to do that, right? Then the one chick, they literally show her entire routine of brushing her teeth.
Yeah.
The entire routine.
Yep.
You got a brush.
You're killing the snake. That took that
That
took
was
a
a long
long
scene
time.
trying to find the snake, and then yeah, then they're
And
all
kill the snake.
with the feathers going everywhere. Yeah.
And if you watch it again, when the power goes out and the guy's lighting the lantern, that takes a ridiculous amount of time for him to light this stupid lantern.
See, this movie came out though, it was right on that borderline. If you watch a lot of the older horror films, like this
Yeah.
was like right in the middle, like in between like the older style and then the newer slasher stuff, and if
Yeah,
you watch those older horror films, there's a lot of that in older horror
Like
films.
My
yeah,
Bloody
there's a
Valentine.
lot of slow burn. And that's kind of what I'm getting at. Like this, you couldn't get away with this today.
No, no.
Um,
The audiences
with,
are different now. Like
yes,
Yes.
yeah,
back
yeah,
then, people
absolutely.
had attention spans, and they focused on mundane little things. Instant
Yeah,
gratification wasn't such a big deal. But like My Bloody Valentine was the same way. It was slow. It was kind of boring. But then like iconic films, and this isn't a horror film, but The Deer Hunter, like
mhm.
how fucking long are we gonna spend at this wedding?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we could speed this up, but it kept people's attention back then, and
Mhm.
that film is iconic. Now it's like now we're in a generation of 15-second videos, and if it doesn't catch my attention, I'm out.
I'm
Yep.
out. Yeah,
Everybody's on like Instagram Reels or TikTok, and like you have to have something like this video right here that we're making. Nobody's gonna fucking watch this.
Oh no, it's way too long.
No, I don't care.
unless you unless you really care about the film. But
Yeah.
we made it pretty clear, I think. We don't give a fuck. We're just doing this for ourselves.
Yeah.
If you are watching, we
Kudos to you.
yeah, we love and appreciate you. And I don't know how you sat through it this long, but like people today, they just want like I want quick, interesting videos. That's not this, but
yeah. Well, you didn't let me finish my last one.
Oh, go
Fine,
go
though.
go on.
No, it's cool. It's cool. Obviously, I was taking too long for you.
Speed it up. What is it? What's the last one? Let's hear it.
So the last one is the most egregious. I want to see if you guys can tell me what they are without having seen the movie lately.
The boat scene, like the
What?
end, the boat scene at the end where she's just
No.
sitting there. No, really,
Nope.
I think
Nope.
that drags really long. Like the
It
cops
does.
pulling
It
up
does,
and stuff.
but that moves the movie along. It's something that you probably don't even think about because when it's happening, you probably just check out. Okay, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Alice, the main character, before the final battle or whatever, legit, from start to finish, does a whole cup of coffee thing. You see her getting everything, then she puts it on, she turns the thing on, she puts it on the thing, she does the coffee, she gets the cups. They literally go to the point where she gets the she goes into the pantry and gets the sugar, brings out the sugar. It's a whole creation of coffee.
Right before the final battle?
Yes. It's right before the one chick is thrown through the well, no, not even then. It when you watch it, it's hilarious because it's literally her just creating coffee on the stove.
You know, though, now that you're saying that, other Friday the 13th movies do that as well.
Probably.
Stuff like that, like the chick making the popcorn in part 3.
They need to make it 90 minutes.
Doing all that, like they really
like you want to
focus
be
on
in that 90-minute range, right?
But
So
yeah,
you gotta.
Listen,
wow.
these movies aren't full of substance.
No.
There's been like some deeper meaning to this. They got to fill it with bullshit, I think.
They do.
Yeah.
We're making
I
a
still think
feature film. You're gonna have to make some coffee and make it really long.
Yeah. She was making it for her and Bill because she was waiting for Bill to come back because he was going to go do something, and then he
The
came
generator.
back.
He was going to go
The
start
generator,
the generator.
right? Yeah. So they had to like do a time thing. But one really cool thing about this movie, and it was funny when I saw it because it reminded me of another movie. But there's no way that these two movies could have known that this was happening. So this came out, and this is why earlier in the video I said it came out May 9th of 1980. Well, there's another movie that came out in May of 1980. Do you guys know what it is? May 23rd.
No.
So May 23rd of 1980, The Shining came out.
Oh.
And obviously we know what the one of the iconic scenes in that movie is when he chops the door down. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Well, Miss Voorhees kind of does that in this movie. It's like she shuts the door and she's chopping at the door and it makes a hole and you kind of see her head come in. And I was like, I wonder if they got that from The Shining. Well, guess what?
No.
The Shining came out the exact same month.
Wow.
So I just thought that was like a little funny.
That's cool.
Quirk. That I mean, I'm sure that they have nothing to do with each other, but it's very interesting.
Yeah.
That two very, very similar scenes came out within the same month that were like that. And if you watch it again, you'll be like, oh wow, it really like you'll be like, oh yeah, that's definitely like Shining esque.
Well, I mean, the book was out before the film, so
Yeah, yeah,
maybe it was maybe they
oh,
from the book. You know,
they could have. Yeah.
That's
I feel
pretty
like
cool.
there's a door breakthrough in most good horror films. Halloween, where he gets his hand through the door, unlocks it,
Hmm.
not his face. But what else you got in those notes over there?
I think that's about it. Um, yeah, I just talked about the cinematography. It's that it's really easy to see the man's hand. Just talking about some of the acting, and it was kind of funny. But like near the end, there's a part where Annie's like, "What is going on?" Like it was just funny. But no, I don't really have much more. I think
What would you rate this film at? How many videotapes would you give this out of 10?
whew,
This is tough for me because whereas the original it's an iconic film, not original because they basically were inspired from Halloween, and Halloween, everything's kind of inspired from everything else, but
Yeah.
um it's not up there for me.
I would give it about a 4.5.
Out of 10?
Yeah.
oh, all right, wow.
No disrespect. It's just, I mean, like you said, the filler in it, and there's just stuff in it that it's a great film, but it's not there. You can definitely tell they were trying to figure out where they wanted to go as they were shooting, as they were doing it.
Hmm.
I don't
I'm
think I'm gonna be that harsh.
really, I think that's a really good score. That
Wow.
No, I don't think it's a really good score, but I think I completely understand why you're giving it 4.5, and I agree with you.
You think it's 4.5 too?
Mhm.
Yeah, I would definitely rate some of the other ones a lot higher, but this,
I was gonna ask what you would rate the sequel, like part two, but we'll get to that.
yeah.
But see, here's the issue. And I think that this is the issue with anything that we rate. We're rating it against everything that came out after. We're rating everything that came out.
I'm
It's
rating
hard.
it on the movie itself, on just the movie itself. Like,
Yeah, but I find myself not being able to rate it that low just because there's no way people watching that movie knew that ending. There's no way.
no. And that's probably like why it's at a 4. If that ending wasn't what it was, the score would drop for me.
Well, but yeah, well, obviously, but the mom and then the kid jumping out of the water. Man, wow. I'm a bet a 7.
Damn. Okay. I mean,
I
the mom is definitely a twist that, like Steve said, bumps the score up.
maybe 6.5. There's a lot of filler. There's a lot of filler, but the way they tied it together was really creative
I'll
and
give it a.
something that had never been done. What?
I'll bump up to a 5, but it's just because of Betsy Palmer. I mean,
I mean,
you're just killing off people that I don't care about. I have no connection to
yeah,
any of these people. Uh, I do love the special effects, you
the
know.
Love the
special effects
score.
are amazing. I
The
mean,
score.
the fact that they're still able to somewhat hold up today is is crazy.
See, but this is the
Crazy.
thing with the effects. Like you're saying, yes, I agree, but pretty much all of Tom Savini's movies are like that,
Mhm.
So it's not
Yeah.
like a one shot off, film with awesome, with those awesome effects. You go watch this Dawn of the Dead, you're like, holy crap,
Well, what was the budget on this movie?
Yeah, I don't know what the budget was
It couldn't have been
off
a
the
lot.
bat. But that was his specialty though. Like
Yeah.
he worked on so many B movies back in the day, and made it look phenomenal,
Yeah.
But yeah. I don't know. It's tough. I know it sounds really harsh, but if I like really cut, just cut the film up and really look at it, it's just there's not a whole lot to it. Like Matt said about the character development and stuff, like that grabs me a lot in movies, the characters and how you feel. I don't feel anything for anyone in this movie.
Character development, I would give it like a 2. Special effects, I would give it like a 6. Storyline, 5.
But every year I'm gonna go outside and watch this movie by a fire and love
Soundtrack.
every minute of it.
Soundtrack, I would give it an 8.
So what?
If I'm rating the soundtrack, I would probably give it like an 8.
Sail away, tiny sparrow. Spread your wings and fly.
So if I go 2, 5, 6, and 8, I'm right at a 5, I think.
I think I'm at a 6.5. I'm at a 6.5.
Oh, you're gonna reel it back in a little.
Well, I said 7, 6.5.
All right.
It's I don't know, man. He's on Mount Rushmore. He's on the Mount Rushmore of icon. Well,
but he's
again,
not in this.
He ain't in.
Well, but he is though. I'm telling you.
I'm gonna go back
again.
and watch it. This is the first time I ever heard this about him being in it.
Look, and I'll be honest with you. I looked to see if anybody has said anything about it, and I couldn't find anything. So the only thing that gave me pause was I saw it, and then when they interviewed Savini, and I'll try to record it for you. He goes, the first kill, when Jason comes and slashes her throat. I'm like, wait a second. Like, and that could have been just a thing that he said, but he said when Jason comes and slashes her throat. I'm like, okay, interesting.
All right.
Go back and watch that. It's nuts.
I'm going to.
Should we meet back here for some bonus footage after we watch that scene?
Sure.
We'd have to meet up tomorrow though, so I can get it out Friday.
You can meet up tomorrow.
Okay,
right.
Yeah.
Well, you say tomorrow, yesterday.
Yeah. Get in the DeLorean. We're gonna have to go to Thursday, the 12th.
Yep.
And we'll do a real quick
a little bonus footage for the people that really care.
Yeah.
If you made it
there
this
you go.
far.
There you go.
So,
yeah, I'm down.
So for right now, we'll sign off. Thanks for watching this far. Stay tuned for our analysis of a possible Jason sighting in Friday the 13th, 1980.
Part 1 at the beginning part.
Yeah.
It was good to see you guys again.
Yes.
You too. Well,
man, this has been, huh?
I'll see you. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah. Or today.
Yeah, whatever.
All
right.
Maybe Stevie will have different colored hair. We don't know. We have no idea.
Never know.
I like the blue.
Thank
I do like the blue. It looks good.
Yeah.
Must be nice to have like that nice full head of hair. Look at him.
Yeah.
Showing it off.
I got a little gray floof. Like I got like
I like it.
I like it. That.
I got like
you got like gray tips.
Yeah, there's like 6 that are just in the front. I'm just leaving them now. Fuck it. And then I got
why not?
Shave everything else, just have that little
floof.
Tuft up there.
my floof is on fleek.
Your floof.
My floof on fleek.
Your mother looks so Stevie, your mother looks so angry. I don't know if because it's like blurry. It just like it's very angry. There. Hey, by the way, people that are still watching, what would you guys think of Stevie doing? Stevie's Tales in the Dark. Because with the light, we need to do Stevie's Tales in the Dark. Here, put the light up on your face. Let's see what that would look like. What would
Oh yeah, I
dude,
like.
come on, that's like Vincent Price stuff right there.
All right, I'm gonna cut this. We'll meet up again and finish this episode out. So
You guys got to watch that part though.
Yes, I
tuned.
will. I'm gonna watch it now.
Hang tight.